The X-wing is not an interceptor. I get it. It's labeled as a space superiority fighter. I understand that that's typically what we see it doing. But the X-wing is not an interceptor in the same way that an A-wing is. Okay? The X-wing is a multi-role craft. The A-wing is not. So, what is the difference? Why does this tick me off? Well, what is done, and the most common thing I ever see when someone complains about an X-wing, and yes, I do hear complaints about the X-wing, but when someone complains about an X-wing, the most common thing is that why would you stick your cannons way out there? This just makes it harder to aim at starfighters. You're right, it does. However, that's not the only job of an X-wing. An X-wing's job is that you can put an X-wing anywhere in your formation. That's what it is. It's a multi-role craft. It doesn't matter if you have a bunch of bombers, if you need more defense, if you need interceptors, if you need to be able to do a communications or scouting or anything. The X-wing's job is to kind of be a bit of a do-everything craft. What that means is it's going to be less effective at some of these things. So one of the benefits of offsetting your cannons is that if you're doing a strafing run on a ship and you're a little off target, you miss a bit, you're still hitting your target because you have an area attack. It's not just going in one little point. It's going to hit an area. Contrast this with the TIE Fighter, which is most commonly compared against it. A TIE Fighter, if you miss your target, you've missed your target. Like, flat out, end of story. You're not hitting. It is 2 points that go in a straight line. You miss, you miss. X-Wing, different story. In X-Wing, you miss your target and you're doing a strafing run, you're still hitting your target. Secondly, it has a torpedo launcher. Flat out, you can do bombing runs with an X-Wing. You can't do that with a lot of space superiority craft. The A-Wing isn't going to be able to make an effective attack run against a cruiser. It's not going to be able to make an effective attack run against a Corvette. But an X-Wing can. See, the job of an X-Wing is for the enemy to not know what its job is. That is the best way to put it. You can throw together an entire force of X-Wings, and your enemy has to completely defend against 100% of them. Because if they ignore a squadron of X-Wings, that X-Wing squadron can go in and do a bombing run on a critical ship. Now, admittedly, there are better craft for almost any role. If you need pure anti-starfighter, you want to go with an A-Wing. You want to go with something dedicated to that. Bring in TIE interceptors, whatever you want to do there. If you're going for, you need to do a bombing run, that's what you need to do. You're going to want to throw down some Y-Wings, throw down some B-Wings. They're better craft for that job. But if you don't know what you need, there is no better craft to call upon than the X-Wing. Just period. The T-65 is the best craft at its time for doing everything. And that's solely because it is capable of doing everything. You have any ship, from a TIE Interceptor to a Star Destroyer, and an X-Wing can critically damage, if not destroy. Period. Any craft. The exceptions to this is going to be, say, a Lancer, which is a dedicated Corvette effectively designed to kill X-Wings. Not just X-Wings, but all starfighters. And that's really the only counter to it, is you have to have a dedicated anti-starfighter Corvette. That's the only thing that an X-Wing can't really threaten, and that's solely because it threatens the X-Wing more than the X-Wing threatens it. So, what you end up with is an excellent craft for doing whatever you want. Narratively speaking, this is why you see a lot of heroes in X-Wings. It's because it doesn't matter what you're doing, an X-Wing can do it. If Luke needs to go on a bombing run, he needs to go down a trench, he needs to put a torpedo into a tiny little hole, he's got a torpedo for that. If he needs to go fly around, he needs to, play space defense, keep defenses safe, take care of some cruisers, he's got it. It's an excellent ship for heroes to be in, just solely because it kind of does whatever you want it to do. Now, arguably, you shouldn't have it be the only ship heroes fly around in, but that's kind of why you see them in it a lot. It's because an X-Wing is amazing at doing a little bit of everything. It is the jack of all trades craft. It will master none of them, but it can do any of them.